many things that 45 campaigned on, other than trying to get his non-existent imaginary border wall built and having Mexico pay for it, which they're not going to. Another thing he ran on was draining the swamp, which he technically has not. 45, it became such, coming from Washington, it became such a slogan of 45's 2016 campaign that at his Klan rallies that his inbred redneck trailer park supporters would chant three words representing his pledge to take on big donors of central interest, drain the swamp. But as 45 ramps up his 2020 trying to get reelected, which hopefully he doesn't, it is clear that he has tolerated, if not fostered, a swamp of his own in Washington around him, granting up close access to deep-pocketed supporters and interest groups willing to write 6- and 7-figure checks to his political operations. Some have used the opportunity to plead their cases directly to him. The late evidence came over the weekend with the release of a secret recording of an April 2018 donor from major donors and protective donors to a super PAC supporting 45. While news of the recording primarily focused on 45's call for the removal of Marie Yovanovitch, an ambassador to Ukraine, after a donor claimed she had disparaged the squatter, the recording revealed that 45 engaged in policy discussions with many other donors pushing their agendas. There was the New York real estate developer whose company project in South Korea was proposed to 45 as a possible site for his summit with Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea. There was the Canadian steel magnate who pushed the squatter to further limit steel imports of the United States and whose companies donated $1.75 million to the PAC. Other attendees discussed government policies that could benefit their businesses, including building a highway for self-driving trucks and regulations that would help make trucks powered by gas compressors to be more competitive with electric-powered vehicles. The recording is a glimpse into a broader pattern into which the administration appointed industry lobbyists to key policy-making jobs, hated the regulatory wishes of big corporations, and granted regular access to donors and influential political supporters. Some of the policies sought by the donors at the 2018 dinner have been subsequently introduced in Congress. It is unclear in those cases whether the squatter or the White House intervened. In other cases, 45 has directly championed the businesses of some of his biggest donors, as he did in the weeks after his inauguration, when he reportedly discussed with Prime Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan, an effort by the casino magnate Sheldon Adelson to build a casino there. 45's assiduous courtship of major donors closely mirrors behavior for which he chastised his opponents in 2016, when he cast himself as a billionaire, which he probably isn't, whose ability to finance his own campaign would ensure that he was not beholden to financial backers. In the months after starting his squatter roll campaign, 45 branded his Republican rivals, as well as his eventual Democratic challenger Hillary Clinton, as puppets of major donors who funded their campaigns in support of super PACs. In one characteristic broadside at his arrivals in late 2015, he assailed Jeb Bush, the former Florida governor, and Senator Marco Rubio, also of Florida, both of whom were seeking the Republican nomination at the time, for their embrace of super PACs funded by major donors. And you look at Hillary, let's go to the other side. They have super PACs where they control the candidate just like you control a puppet, 45 said. Yeah, and technically, 45, you're the biggest puppet you are. You're Putin's puppet. We don't want anybody to form super PACs. We sent legal notices, please give all the money back, we don't want it. It was not long before 45 reversed himself. His campaign began aggressively courting donations to supplement the personal money he was spending on his 2016 bid, and his team eventually blessed the formation of a super PAC that solicited large charges from major donors to air ads attacking Clinton. Once the joke of electoral college put him in, 45's team signaled that he did not intend to spend his own money on his re-election. If that's if he even gets re-elected, hopefully he doesn't. His allies formed a pair of political groups using variations of the name America First, which he doesn't put first, that could accept unlimited donations. He began appearing at events for donors. The most generous of whom were invited to the White House for briefings with top administration officials. He has attended many donor gatherings, and fundraisers have been held at the 45 International Hotel in Washington, including the dinner that was subject of the recording released over the weekend, held in a private suite on April 30th, 2018. It was for donors and prospective donors that basically did not put America first, a super PAC that has raised nearly $50 million to support 45 and his allied candidates. The recording, which includes videos at a time, shows 45 entering the suite and posing for some photographs before joining donors in a dining room with 16 plus chairs around an orderly set table, accented with floral arrangements. 45 updated the donors on some of the most pressing issues facing his administration, including its ongoing negotiations with China over trade and North Korea over nuclear weapons. He seems to encourage the donors to share their concerns. 45 mentioned to the donors that his administration had selected a date and a location for his first meeting with Kim Jong-un, which would be held in Singapore in the weeks after the dinner. One of the dinner attendees suggested a different site for the summit, a so-called smart development outside Seoul, South Korea, called Songdo, featuring a convention center, apartments, and a golf course designed by the golfer Jack Nicklaus. A leading stakeholder in the development was a company run by Stanley Gale, a donor to the Republican campaigns and committees who attended the dinner, according to people familiar with the event. It was also attended by the golfer's grandson and namesake, Jack Nicklaus III, who works for Gale's company. According to a LinkedIn profile, Gale did not respond to a request for comment during this discussion. 45 told the guests, "You know what that Kim Jong-un is a great golfer." His remark prompted laughter and led another guest to suggest that Kim's scores were recorded as all holes in ones in his authoritarian country. Another guest was Barry Zeckelman, a Canadian citizen who owned a United States-based steel tube manufacturing company that donated $1.75 million to the Not America First action. Avoiding running afoul of a ban on foreign donations in American politics, he used the dinner to push the squatter on two charges facing his company: cheap steel imports from Asia and new federal rules that made it harder to find truck drivers. He urged 45 to go further in his effort to limit steel imports to the United States and questioned the rules intended to prevent fatal truck accidents by using electronic monitoring systems to limit the hours that drivers could be on the road. Say someone is half an hour from home on their long-haul truck. They literally have to pull over on the side of the road and stop. Zuckerman says they can't go home. 45 did not seem to be aware of the new federal rules that required those monitoring systems. He says they have a method that you shut down a truck, 45 said after Zuckerman questioned the effort the new rules held on his ability to move the steel pipe manufactured well. Since that dinner, legislation has been introduced in the White House with the co-sponsorship of 12 Republicans, including the brother of the inbreeding president of the inbreeding vice squatter Mike Pence, to allow smaller truck companies to get exemptions from the rule. Legislation has also been introduced to help natural gas vehicles complete with electric ones. It was applauded by an Ohio company that makes gas compressors, Ariel Corporation. One of its executives, Thomas Raston, was on the invitation list for the April dinner. He and a woman resembling his wife, Karen Wright, who owns the Ariel Corporation, are briefly visible in the video of the event. Together, the couple have donated a combined $875,000 to the Not America First action. He did not respond to questions about whether he was the voice in the recording urging the squatter to take steps to help the industry. Another invitee was Wayne Hubblestall, who owns trucking companies in the Midwest, including one that works with the United States Postal Service. In the recording, a male voice says he runs a company that does business with the Postal Service and urges 45 to consider supporting the construction of a 500-mile section of highway to be used exclusively for self-driving trucks. Paying truck drivers, the voice said, was one of his company's biggest costs, although technology is there right now. He said it's absolutely safe. A limited liability company that shared an address and personal one with Mr. Hubblestall's companies donated $250,000 to the Not America First action on the day of the dinner. Hubblestall did not respond to a request for comment. The recording was made by dinner attendee Igor Fruman, and it was released by the lawyer for another, Lev Parnas, an associate of Fruman. The two, both Soviet-born American businessmen, would go on to play central roles in the pressure campaign against Ukraine that led to 45's impeachment. During the dinner, Parnas and Fruman discussed with 45 a natural gas venture that they were pursuing in Ukraine. Parnas also asked the squatter to consider changing banking regulations to aid another business venture they would soon pursue, a plan to win marijuana retail license in Nevada and elsewhere. The month after the dinner, they donated $325,000 to the Not America First action, though through Global Energy Producers, a company they had recently formed to pursue energy deals. The men have since been indicted on campaign finance charges related to their business ventures and have pleaded not guilty.